Hello, my name is Adam and I am one of the students at Gnomon, and I am going to talk about my experience at Gnomon as an online student.
Yeah, even though it's Friday night, and I got
Now, before getting into talking about Gnomon, I have talked about taking JHL course. If you want to check that, I will leave a link in the description and also in the comments for you to check out. Now, when I was deciding which school I wanted to go to, I stumbled upon a website called The Rookies, and then throughout The Rookies I simply went there, checked out the schools, and my first choice was actually Think Tank Training Center in Vancouver for their online program. It's a school in Canada and they are really well known for the quality of the students that they produce, and they do have an amazing program as well. The program was too rigorous on top of what I have in terms of a job or whatever that might be. With Think Tank, if you really want to go to it and do it, they recommend having no job at all and just focusing on the school, because that's the way that they want to go about teaching their program. And the second option was Gnomon, because I wanted something a little bit on a slower base. However, if we compare Think Tank versus Gnomon as a whole is better than Think Tank in terms of the ranking and then in terms of the quality of the students. Yet the price is very expensive for Gnomon, but Gnomon is on a slower base. Now, I couldn't attend in person, so I decided to attend online, and I simply called them. The guy that I was always in contact with, his name is Zach. He is an amazing portfolio reviewer. He was helping me building my portfolio and then navigating my time at Gnomon. And that's where I started with my first class, and that was in the summer of 2023 with James Schwab, one of the best professors I ever taken class with in terms of 3D and visual effects. Basically, that class was intro to Maya, or introduction to 3D with Maya. At the time when I started, I genuinely knew nothing, barely touched Cinema 4D, and I was just dabbling with Cinema 4D, nothing serious on that end. And then in terms of a Blender, I didn't like a Blender, and probably I will talk about my experience and my story with a Blender at a later time. And then in terms of Maya, I liked Maya, but Maya was not easily accessible, and also it was not the easiest software to work with. So I signed up for the class. The class was about $1,000 or $1,065. I started. The way that we went about the class, you have two projects. So the first half of the term or the semester, you get done with a project, and then at the very end, you have another project that you do as well. Now, for our class, the professor gave us the choice. Do we want to make one big project as a whole for the entire term, or maybe two smaller projects where we do a project at the beginning and then a project at the end? What the majority of the students decided is we will have one big project for the entire term. So we were working on our project. The way that we worked on it, it was very similar to actually being in an actual studio. So we would work on whatever we want to work on, and we will do whatever we need to do after he gave us a demo. And then the lecture time was actually 3 hours, and that's what I liked. We finished the lecture, he gave us the demo, and then we go and we work on our own projects, whatever we want to make. After we are done with what we are making, then we go and then we deliver it to him, and then he give feedback to each student for the entire 3 hours, and then each student get about 20 minutes to a half an hour, and sometimes we even go beyond 3 hours. I remember the last day of the class, he said, if you guys want to, we can do a marathon. And basically a marathon is we would be working together, everyone opening their cameras and sitting on their laptops and computers, and then start working on their project for about 6 hours. So we started at 7 p.m. local time, my local time, and then we ended at 1 a.m. So for 6 hours straight, he was with us giving us feedback, and also all of us, we were working on the projects and whatever we wanted to work on. And for me, that was really nice, that was wonderful, and that was a wonderful experience as well, because he was in the industry and working working on a movie. He invited us to actually go and watch one of the movies he worked on together at the cinema. Some students went, I couldn't go, but it was really nice and it made you feel that you are a part of a community. Right now I am going all over the place, but let me step back and then talk about, let's say, the good and maybe the bad in terms of my experience. The good, I really like that the lectures were long, 3 hours long minimum, and if we need more, we will go more, and that's something I really liked. The professor is really accessible, and that's something I truly appreciated, whether that's by email or whatever that might be. The Discord server is very active, and the Discord server, every term they have a competition where you actually make something and then you compete with other students as well. For me, I won it twice, where they would give a prompt. Let's say the prompt is around October for Halloween. So now you need to design a character or you need to design a scene that is spooky, and that's a competition between students, and I won it twice, and I really liked that. That was really motivating, and it's a very short amount of time, and it's only on the Discord, and it has nothing to do with anything else. Now keep in mind, if you are an online student, you get access to everything. You do not get access to the Gnomon workshop. If you are an in-person student, you actually get access to the Gnomon workshop, and correct me if I am wrong on that information. I am sure there's probably a couple of you whom are Gnomon students whom watching this video right now, but at the time when I went in 2023, that was the case. Positive number 2, the quality of the education in terms of slow pace and also meeting you where you are at. Everyone started at different levels. There are people who are really good, and there are people who are just starting out, and there are people who were just doing it as a hobby. Halfway through the semester or the term, I felt as if everyone was on the same playing field, because the professor would meet you where you are at, and then from there would be leveling up the levels between everyone. Halfway through, we are using the same lingo, and we are very proficient in terms of the software, and actually we are very familiar with what we want to do and how we communicate our ideas and how we communicate what we want to do in a 3D space. Number 3, the friends that you would make along the way. And I know this is like the most cliche thing ever, but I made long life friends because of that Gnomon class. Now let's talk a little bit about the negatives. First negative is the price. The price to attend Gnomon is very high. Also, the second con, their rules in terms of attending classes and how you attend the classes and such, where they have to be in California, and if you are outside of California, that's going to cause a little bit of issues and yada yada, so that's really difficult to go through. However, my recommendation is definitely to reach out to them and then explain to them your situation, and they will work with you to the best of their ability. And honestly, those are the only 2 things that I can think of that can be negatives. Other than that, for me as an online student, it has been nothing but a wonderful experience. I did not feel as I was being treated as a second-class citizen, and I was never discouraged to go to the school in person to do whatever I need to do. If anything, they really encourage it. And because of them, I got to work on projects I never thought I would work on, and my knowledge in terms of Maya in a general sense really got to the next level because of them and because of the teachings that I got through them. And the same can be said for ZBrush as well, because ZBrush at the very beginning, it was very scary for me to reach, and it was very scary for me to even try to work with. And then within 2 weeks, I am already running and doing what I need to do in terms of ZBrush. And overall, my experience with Gnomon is positive. Now, some of you might ask about the best of term. If you are an online student, do you qualify for that? And the answer is yes, you do qualify to compete for the best of term if you are an online student. So by the end of each term, you submit your work, and then your work can win the best of term. And if you win the best of term, they get you some sort of a gift. However, that is different from a term to a term. Again, I am talking about my experience in 2023. degree, and it has been completely different since then because it has been at least 2 to 3 years since then. And the second question some of you might ask, do online students get access to the tutoring center? Yes, and I have used the tutoring center many times. Now, as I said, in terms of scholarships, there is no scholarships for online students, so you have to pay in full, so that's something to keep in mind. However, there are payment plans, but in terms of the payment plans, you need to reach out to the school and then discuss that with them. Probably you are wondering, are you planning to go back to Gnomon? Yes, right now I am working on my computer science degree, and then as soon as I am done with that, I would like to go and then finish everything else with Gnomon, because I do have a few classes on the advanced level that I need to finish, and that's what I want to do going forward, or at least in the future. But right now I want to focus on finishing my computer science degree, then I will go that route.